everything's working okay across all the social media channels. Um, if you're joining us on LinkedIn, you should see us here ready to roll. And yeah, here we are. We're live. And Nicole's just asked a question of where are we? And here it is. So it looks like we're all live across the channels. We've come on a little bit early just so that I can check that everything's working. We're not in the studio today because some of our team are working remote because that thing has raised its ugly head again nationally. So I'm soloing. I'm doing solo today. So I can see Amy's here. I can see some other people have joined as well. So that's brilliant. So we're going to start in about a minute's time. I can see Maria's here. And we're going to talk through something really simple, but I'm going to unpack it in 45 minutes so that you can go and use this. So it's all about content and how do we make content work, and the simplest strategy. You know, I did a podcast the other day and I said, we've made marketing too complicated. It's really straightforward. We've got to convince people that they need us. Hi, Julia. Hi, Rohith. Hi, Maria. Hi, Daniela. So we're going to kickstart this session in a couple of minutes. Just wait for it to make sure everything's working across all these different social channels. I'm just clicking and checking that they're all working okay, and avoiding basically blasting myself out through speakers here. So I want this to be practical. I want this to be something you can take away. So please do interact in the chat. I can see here, hi, Jason from Miami. So do ask questions in the chat. Love it when people ask questions. I think people get more value from a session like this if there's actually a lot of questions and lots of different people sharing or asking what my take is, because actually lots of people benefit. So if you've got a question, please do put it in the chat wherever you're watching, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're in the comments on Facebook, it doesn't matter where you are. Put your questions in because it will be really helpful for everybody else. Hi, Joanne. Hi, Tina. LinkedIn user, it's not showing your ID, so I don't know who you are, but welcome. Kane, Ella, David. Hi, David. Hi, Lucy. So it looks like LinkedIn's kicked in now and everybody's starting to arrive. So let's just dig into this. Again, please ask lots of questions. I want to make this simple. I think we've made marketing too complicated to the point where I think actually some marketers think, wow, this is too complicated. So hi, Carlens. Hi, Olivia. Hi, Terry. Welcome. So everybody's here. So just let's kickstart. I've got the chat open, so I will come and kind of, well, let me just sort my microphone out. I will kind of flick between screens and stuff, but I want to kind of just walk you through some stuff. And then I've got my socials open here, so we can go on those if we need to too. So if everybody's here, that's brilliant. I'm tinkering with this microphone, sorry. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, so just if you don't know who I am, I'm Dean Seddon. I'm the founder of Maverick. So you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram. They're my primary channels, so come find me. I'm much better looking on Instagram than I am on LinkedIn, but come find me and you know, let's connect wherever we are. Hi, Andy. Hi, Amy. So just so you know who we are, Maverick helps businesses get high value clients from social. We've got a big global mission to help 1 million businesses grow. And one of the key parts of what we do is we see that social media, for the most part, many people struggle with it. So we do much more than that, but that's one of our primary objectives is how do you get high value clients from socials? So we're going to kind of connect the dots here with content, and that's what we're going to cover today. Hello, Gary. Hello, John. Right, so these are the 4 bits that I'm going to cover, and really simple. I'm going to share my slides now. So In fact, let me just put my socials up so you can see it if you want to kind of find me. So this is me, the better looking version of me. There's always a better looking version of us on social media. That's the way the world works, right? This is what we do. So this is how we help companies. This is how we help solopreneurs, even down to some of our biggest clients are some of the big tech names, the big stock market listed names that we help them with this too. So yeah, check out Maverick as well. And if you get value from this, please do spread the word a little bit. Help us with the social media gods, you know, the likes, the follows, the subscribes, all that stuff is really, really helpful to us. So if you get value from today's session, please go do that stuff. So this is what we're going to cover. Some myths about content marketing, how to create content people want. I'm going to tell you about the 10-second rule and how to generate inbound leads. Now, we've got 45 minutes, so I'm going to leave 15 minutes at the end for questions. So hopefully you're going to fill with loads of questions because that's where the value is. When people go, how does it work for this? Or how does it work for that? And don't be afraid to ask the questions because there's some people will be really, really benefit from your question because they can take and apply some of this to their own circumstance and situation. So let's look at the myths. Let's look at the myths. I'm going to try and do picture in picture here so you can still see me. Bear with me. Let me get this to work. There we go. So the myths, right? I want to tackle the myths first because if you approach content marketing with these thought patterns, it's going to scupper what you're trying to achieve. So let's just deal with the myths first. And then we'll kind of go into the stuff. So the myth number one is that content marketing is just about blogs on your website. Actually, hi, Katie, by the way. Hi, Rashim. Hi, Lucas. Hi, Tonya. Hi, Gara. Hi, Taryn. Content marketing is not about just blogs on your website. That's part of it. And it's one aspect of it. But social is one of the easiest ways to get views and traffic and consistently be in front of the right audience. So like Maverick's website, on our website, we've got tons and tons of articles and we get ranked in SEO and people stumble across our articles and that's brilliant. And people come and read and learn and get some value and go away. But with social media, you get the chance to influence through content on a regular basis. You don't get that in kind of the same way on a website unless you build a website that people come to all the time and choose to come to all the time. So social is an easy way to get views, consistently get views from the same audience and traffic. Now, content marketing is not a one-hit wonder. And this is where a lot of people get frustrated because they think they put out this amazing blog and that amazing blog will do the job. And it won't. People have to see multiple pieces of content to actually get to a point where they're eager to work with you, to buy from you, or to engage you as a service provider. So people have to see you multiple times. So this is where, for many marketers, what they will do is they will use their social media channels to push out website content. And I'm going to share another myth about that in a moment, but social in and of itself is the opportunity to engage people on that channel and keep them consistently on that channel. So I'll give you an example. I use LinkedIn prolifically. So very, very active on LinkedIn all the time. And as a result, people say, I see you in my feed every day, sharing stuff. I see you all the time. Those are touch points that allow me to educate my audience, build trust, build credibility, and share knowledge and insight that will help. So it's not just about blogs on your website. That's a part of it, but it's not the whole thing. So myth number one, content marketing is just about your blogs on your website. It's not. Myth number two, you need paid ads to make social media work. Yeah. So if you want to get your content out on social media, that you need the screenshot on this video, this post didn't turn out how I expected, so it's thrown me. But you don't need to use paid ads. You can actually build an audience if you're really focused on what you want to achieve and you have a very clear objective. Very often what we do is we create content that doesn't have any focus. And so what happens is we can't grow an audience, we can't consolidate an audience, and we can't resonate with an audience. And so having complete clarity on who your audience is and what content you need to be serving to them is absolutely critical. So you don't need paid ads to make social media work, to get your content out, but there are some fundamental principles of focus and having clear objectives so that you don't just pivot off everywhere. Yeah. So really, really important. Myth number 2. Myth number 3, you need a big following. You really, really don't need a big following. I've just launched an Instagram course. We've done LinkedIn for many years, teaching people how to use LinkedIn as a business development tool, very practical, very hands-on. But we just launched an Instagram course. It's not about getting a big following, because what I've found is in the January 2022, so we're at the end of March today, January 2022, I relaunched my Instagram account, started from scratch. I'd built up a following that was unfocused and didn't really invest the time in Instagram, so it had gone very stale. So I decided to rebuild my Instagram from ground zero. So the rule I set myself, because I was planning to teach people what I'd discovered, the rule I set myself was I could not do anything that a small business or solopreneur freelancer could not do, so that I could teach other people, and it doesn't matter where they are, what budget they are, if they've got time, they can make it happen. So you don't need a big following, you just need the right followers. There is an element of credibility with the number of followers, you know, that perception dynamic, but actually you can overcome that with relationship. So you don't need a big following to get the content in front of the right audience and make it convert. So if that's where you've been thinking, big audience, big audience, big audience, that's probably a bad idea. Make something work. If it works with 200 followers, if it works with 100 followers, it will work with 1 million followers. But if you try to get to 1 million followers and make something work, you could be bitterly disappointed. So in just over 3 months, because I did do some prep work in December, just over 3 months, I've built up not a huge following, but I've had, I don't know, maybe I think we're up to about 150 leads and some sales from Instagram. So I'm going to be showing people in a course. I'll tell you a little bit about it later, in April. But you don't need a big following. Yep. Myth number 4, push everything to the website. Now, the reason I put this in, and you might think, have you put this in twice? I haven't put everything in twice. But one of the mistakes that people make is because they push everything to the website, what happens is they kill their social channels, because there's no community on the channel. There's nothing there for them to consume on the platform. They have to go to your website. And what happens is, whichever platform you're on, the algorithms, and we don't need to worry too much about the algorithm, but the algorithms generally will not favor if people leave the site generally, and they will not favor if people, because people don't come back and engage. So what happens is you push your messages out, and because you're pulling people to the website, some people come, but your visibility on social media takes a dip because you've done that. And I see every day companies and individuals doing this activity, using social media channels as a broadcast tool. And what happens is their reach gets lower and lower and lower and lower. And so it ends up where you go, this social media thing is no good. And at that point, it isn't, because you've driven all of the engagement off of the platform. the algorithm's looking at it and going, people are clicking, but they're not staying on the site here for us. So myth number 4, if you do what that says, push everything to the website, you'll actually kill your social media channels. You'll damage your engagement to the point where your visibility will suffer. And I've seen people where they put a post up and they can get like 21 views. Yeah, 21 views. And you've got, I don't know, 1,000 connections on LinkedIn or 200 followers on Instagram. Yeah, something's wrong. So don't think about it as pushing everything to your website. That will kill your activity. So let's have a look at creating content that people want. So we've got some more people joining. So hello, Bernadine. Hello, Ryan. Hello, Mr. Daniel. Hello, Claire. Hello, Greg. So let's look at creating content that people want. Now, you might think, Dean, why have you put this on a slide? Taste. Most of your content on social media, and you need to think about how people approach social media. We pick up our phones at various points in the day and we're like this. Yeah, I'll just show you. We're like this. Yeah, this is what we do. We just scroll. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, you do it, I do it. It doesn't matter what channel we're on, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram, we just do this, right? So when I say the word taste, what I mean is that most of our content is not going to be big, heavy duty pieces of content. It's going to be teasers, light bites. We're not going to put on a banquet on social media. Why? Because people's headspace is not there to go, I'm going to read something now for the next 10, 15 minutes. That's not where they are. So most of what the content that we're doing on LinkedIn or Instagram is teaser, bite-sized information that adds value quickly. Yeah. So brevity on social media becomes very important. In other words, landing a message and landing it concisely and as straightforward as possible, and in as easy to read a language as possible. Now, what do I mean by language? Sometimes we write like we're writing for a newspaper or a medical journal. Our language should be simple and straightforward. And I'm going to give you a little tip here of a website that will help you no end. So I'll pull it up here, and it's called hemingwayapp.com. Now, hemingwayapp.com is a simple way to test the readability or the ease of reading your content. And if it's on social media, you should aim for a grade 5. So you can see here on this page here, it's grade 6, but actually you should aim for a grade 5, and it will highlight where your text, your copy is too complex or too difficult to read for a social media content. So grade 5 is good for social media content. So it's worth getting that, having a look at it and using it. So taste is about, how do I land useful, valuable content quickly? That's first part of taste. The second part of taste is, how do I come up with ideas? Because naturally, one of the hardest bits is creating ongoing ideas for social media content for your target audience. Bill Harper, yeah. That's the name of the website. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what it's called. So, right. So what is taste? So let's say, for an example, I was going to teach you about SEO. Yeah. So I'm going to teach you about SEO. No, I'm going to teach you about how to build a profitable profile on Instagram. So, okay, I'm going to break my content down into 5 components. I'm going to teach you something about building a profitable profile on Instagram. I'm then going to give you in another post some actionable advice, some tips you can do and implement on building a profitable profile on Instagram. Then I'm going to help people understand how I help people build profitable profiles on Instagram. So the same topic can be used with multiple different dimensions. Teaching. So I could teach, why do people struggle to grow their following or get clients or leads or engagement from their target audience on Instagram? So I could do a teaching post on that. Then I could do 3 ways you can get more of your target audience following you on Instagram. Then I could do how I help people. So I have a program that helps people called the Accelerator that helps people use social media to get more clients, build their pipeline, and make more money. So I could teach people about, I could show people how I solve the challenges of getting clients on social media. Then another post I could do is actually telling you not a case study in the formal sense, but actually telling the story of somebody who's been on one of our courses or one of our programs and how their world has changed from being through our programs. What's happened in their business, what's the results that's happened, but tell it in a story form. And then the E stands for experience, telling people about things from your perspective and putting a bit of your personality into a post, making you more human. So this is just a real simple format to take one topic. So I could break it down as SEO, and then I could go blogs for SEO. Okay, I'm going to teach something about blogs for SEO. I'm going to give people some actionable advice about blogs for SEO. I'm going to show people how I can help them with their blogs for SEO. I'm going to give some examples of how we've helped people, like case study style, but a little bit less formal, more story based. And then tell people about why I got into helping people with blogs and SEO. Real simple. Yeah. We got some questions already, I think. Bill and Amy are having a conversation about Hemingway. Yeah, so Bill's a little upset about the Hemingway use, but Bill, it's a third-party website. It does what it says, and that's kind of life, isn't it? So taste is important for 2 reasons. It's important for helping you understand, I've got to land some information, easy, simple, in a straightforward way, and bearing in mind, people are not picking up a newspaper and deciding to sit down. They're scrolling on their phones. So we've got to draw them in. We've got to tease. We've got to get their attention. I'll show you some things on my posts a little bit later if anybody's got any questions. That's taste is really important, both from giving you different ways to make the same point, but also understanding that this is not a buffet or a big banquet. It's actually light bites. Nicole, actually, most of what we do is in B2B. So we're not in the B2C environment, really. So the experience if we're talking about a company profile, that would be a flavor of the company and why you do what you do. Inject the company's personality a bit more into it. It could be that actually one of your posts is actually a picture of some of the team actually working on it. Yeah. Or a picture of like a member of staff and say, this is our top content writer for SEO. That kind of example. Greg, will come to your question about call to actions in a moment. But the first objective of content, and if you think about this in a macro and a micro way, each piece of content has to have some components. I'll share about the components in a minute, but every piece of content has to have some components. But actually, overall, your content has to have the same components at a macro level. So overall, your content has to do kind of 3 jobs, and each content piece has to have these 3 elements in it too. So we'll look at that in a moment. So next slide, 10-second rule, right? So we're getting a bit more tactical now. So the 10-second rule is just a very simple principle, right? To sense check what you're doing. Does the content that you're producing tie up, connect to something that you're selling? So for an example, if I'm doing SEO, my business, no, I teach people how to get clients on social, right? That's what I do. I help people grow their business through digital channels. That's what I do. So I'm not going to write a blog or write a piece of content about, I don't know, about direct mail, posting mail, because that's not what I do. So the first thing is, does this content connect to what I'm selling? So if it doesn't connect to what I'm selling, don't do it. Unless it's just something general that you decide to share from a personal point of view. Don't share content that isn't relevant to what you sell. Now, I don't mean promote what you sell. I mean, it's not relevant. Yeah. So that's really important. Don't do something that doesn't tie into what you do or what you're selling. So that's number one. Number two, will it add value for your target audience? Now, you might go, oh yeah, all our stuff has value for the target audience. Well, just be careful, because sometimes what we do is we follow the taste, but actually we create articles for ourselves. We create content for ourselves. The best people who enjoy our content are actually our competition. And you see this a lot in the marketing agency world. They don't talk to customers. They talk to other agencies. They show their awards and they show this, and they share the latest insights from the marketing industry, but they don't speak to the needs of their target audience. What inadvertently they do is they're talking to other marketing agencies. They're sharing content that the marketing agency world likes, not the business owner who's going to engage them. The business owner doesn't actually care so much about the awards. That's just a credibility piece. What the business owner wants to know is, how good are you at delivering on what you say you can do and sharing that in content? So add value for the target audience. And then this last point, you might go, this is really interesting. Of course, we'll hold people for 10 seconds. So hold their attention for 10 seconds plus. This sounds like easy. Every piece of content does that. Does it really? Does it really? Let's count to 10, shall we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, didn't swear then, 9, 10. It's quite a long time. So this is where we think about, how do we hold their attention? How do we get their attention, and how do we hold it? Simple things. Bright visuals get people's attention. Straight, clear value. Make the value obvious when they see the post in the feed. When they see it in their feed and they're scrolling on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, make it really clear quickly what the value of paying attention is. What's it worth to them? So you have, classically, you have the tease, the attention grabbing bit. What's this all about? The visuals, getting people to focus for a few seconds. Then you've got to draw them in. So you've got the attention grabbing element, drawing people in, then the value itself, and then the call to action, which we're going to come to next. So make a note there. You've got the attention grabbing element, the drawing in or the tease to get them to pay attention for a bit longer, the substance of your content, and the call to action. Yeah. Greg, if you suck at headlines, I've actually got a worksheet that will help you construct headlines. I'll give it to you for free. So what I'll do is I'll just put our email address on screen. And then if you want that, you can just drop us an email and get it. So it's there on the right-hand side. Drop us an email. I'll send you a headlines spreadsheet. It's got like about 60 different types of headline you can write with, kind of fill in the blanks. You'd make your own, but it gives you some ideas with the fill in the blank stuff. So if you want the headlines template, just drop us a line and we'll send it to you. That's for anybody, not just Greg, by the way. Anybody who wants it can have it. So remember, make a note. You've got the attention grabbing element, visuals, and making really clear what's the value in this. Then you've got the T's to draw them in. Then you've got the value itself. And then you've got the call to action if you're going to put one on. And a simple one could be follow for more. Yeah. A lot of people get tied up about this. Should I ask people to follow? You should. Maybe not every post, but you should, because it's been proven that if you ask, you get. You see it on TikTok, you see it on YouTube, people actually saying, follow, hit the subscribe, like, all of that stuff. A percentage of people will actually do it. Not everybody, but that's how you build your following. That's how you build it, by saying, guys, if you've had value from this session, come follow me, come find me on Instagram, come find me on LinkedIn. And some of you will, some of you won't. That's cool. But you've got to lead with a call to action at least sometimes and say follow or subscribe. Or simply, if you want more engagement, ask people for their opinion. What do you think? Now, some platforms you can train your audience to engage by using polls. So Instagram and stories is good. TikTok, you can do this. LinkedIn, you can do this. Facebook, you can do this. Twitter, you can do it. Getting people to engage and training people to engage by regularly putting content that encourages people to share or give their opinion. The other thing, well, I was going to go into something else, but I won't. But that's a call to action too. Asking people to engage is a call to action. So let me just flick to something else. I think we've got some more questions here. Please don't put your email in the chat, because once this broadcast finishes, we can't get it. Send your email to hi@maverick.io. Hi@maverick.io. So I'll put it, basically email us. You email us and we'll send it to you. So don't put your email in the chat because it'll disappear. Hi@maverick.io. And we'll send you the headlines spreadsheet for you. So remember that attention grabbing, draw people in, make them curious, get them invested in the piece of content, give the value, call to action. Real simple. And if you think about it on a macro level, you have content that gets your attention. You have content that draws in a crowd. Yeah, that gets them emotionally invested in you and your brand and your message. You've got content that really delivers value, so it proves your worth. And you've got content that converts. Yeah, so the same that you'd apply in one post actually becomes groups of posts or a macro category that helps you understand these posts are for this, these posts are for this, these posts are this, these posts are this. Come back to taste again. So now we're looking at the inbound leads element, which is the call to actions. So what I want to talk to you about here is what we call intent thresholds. So very often people will put out, oh, DM us if you want this, or click through to get this. And lead magnets, webinars, events, live videos, any kind of call to action value, as we say, CTAV, call to action value. In other words, people are saying, I want that. You need to use these to actually generate leads where people will sign up for something, buy something. You have to do these to get leads. We call them intent thresholds because what often happens is people will create a lead magnet, a document they can download, or a webinar they can attend, or something like that. But they don't connect up to the value you bring to them as a client. So what happens is you get people signing up to download something that won't convert. And they won't convert because they don't have any need for your service or what you're selling. So when we talk about an intent threshold, what we're saying is an intent threshold is an event that happens through your content whereby a potential from your target audience raises their hand and signals to you, I need what you've got, which ties back to the 10-second rule that your content has to be relevant to what you're selling. So if you're selling something or promoting something, you should be speaking to the audience who needs what you've got. So an intent threshold could be a PDF, it could be a video, it could be a message, it could be anything. But the idea is you create a very clear call to action. If you want this, do this. And if you want that, there has to be some kind of intent from the person to say, I need you. So for an example, if I produced a document and shared it, this one for an example is a PDF that I've shared on LinkedIn and I've shared it on Instagram. And it's basically saying, you don't necessarily need a website to actually sell. You can sell with one PDF. And again, if anybody wants it, I'll send you a copy. So if you want a copy of this to have a look at and dissect, just drop us an email, hi@maverick.io, and we'll send it to you. So I've wrote a PDF to say, if you create one good PDF, that could do everything for you. And I've put it together in a PDF and people ask me for it, and it gives them an understanding of why this PDF could be all they need in terms of social media and content to get leads. So I share that with them and I follow those people up and say, hey, how are you getting on with that PDF? Are you going to use it? And I'll arrange calls and say, come on an accelerator, we'll help you write them, because one of the challenging things is not putting a PDF together and writing, it's knowing what to write that will get your audience to pay attention and will get them to say, I need you, I need your help. And how do I appeal to those people? So an intent threshold is real simple. It's developing a piece of content, whether it be video, webinar, lead magnet, it can be anything, PDF. And when people ask for it, it tells you they need me. Yeah. Now, if I do, if I offered a marketing plan template and I said, hey, I'll give you my marketing plan template, and people download it, it doesn't tell me they need my help, because lots of people can do it. Lots of people can want a marketing plan template, but what I'm looking for is the need. Yeah. So the need for me would be in, okay, do you want a marketing plan template that will help you get more clients from social media? Right. So when I structure it in that way, as that title, it's loaded with a need at the same time. So when people wave their hands, I'm not meaning literally wave their hands, but when people raise their hand, they put their email address in, or they DM me and say, can I have that? I know that's what they want to achieve. So when I can follow up to them and go back to them and say, hey, you want to get more clients, you want a marketing plan that will help you get more clients from social media. Great. Here's my document. Go have a look at it. I'll follow up with you in a few days and see how you're getting on. And I'll send them the value. The idea being is I'll build a relationship based on their need, and then I will show them how our programs and our courses and our accelerator can help them achieve that faster and more successfully. So an intent threshold is not just a call to action. It's a very focused call to action. Very focused call to action. Let me just see. Amy has said, once you've got a great piece of downloadable content like this, how do you keep it in the public eye and keep it out there? Amy, the great thing about, the frustrating thing and the great thing about social media, they're actually the same thing. Put it out there on a regular basis. Consistently put it out. Some of your audience will look at it and go, I'm not sure. And then they'll come back again in a couple of weeks' time and they'll go, oh, go on then. I've seen it around a few times. Like I said at the beginning, sometimes your target audience will have to see you and see things multiple times before they take the leap. And so putting it out on a regular basis, even once a week, can be really powerful. I know somebody who uses one intent threshold every single week and does more than 20 million pounds in business with one intent threshold that's just repeated. Now, of course, you can automate some of that going forward, and you could scale it with ads, but I'm getting 100 to 150 downloads of a PDF like this every single week. Yeah. I'm generating from content on LinkedIn and Instagram more than 200 leads every week. Why? Because I've prolifically doing it. My Instagram is not quite as successful as my LinkedIn yet, but actually my Instagram is keeping up in terms of the quality of the leads coming through. I've got a much broader audience on LinkedIn. It's very focused on Instagram, very tightly focused. So intent devices are powerful for capturing leads, and leads that'll convert. It's really important. A lead for me is somebody who is in my target audience, has a need that my services can help with, and has the ability to pay. But very often when we do content, if we don't get it right, we end up with all sorts of people downloading stuff that's not relevant or not the right people. So we have to focus. We're using intent devices. And of course, we have to follow up. So I think what I was going to do was I was going to take some questions. This is the course that we're running, by the way, in April. So if you want some details on that, anybody got any questions? Anybody got any questions? Anybody got any questions? So Amy was saying earlier about how do you keep it in people's minds? And I said about scaling it with ads. You don't need ads to begin with. I'm not using ads to scale my my intent devices. But once you've got it working organically, you will have a tried and tested approach. And so once you've got your tried and tested approach, you could scale it with ads. You could, but you will take a hit in the quality of the leads because suddenly it's broadening out and suddenly you're pushing it in front of people. So you're more likely to get the wrong people. Kane Hall, what particular kind of posts are most effective at grabbing different age demographics, specifically middle age? So Kane, there's a couple of different ways to approach that. The first thing is you're asking the question on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn generally is an older audience. LinkedIn is generally the audience has a higher disposable income too than other channels, just because of its makeup. It's predominantly working professionals. So LinkedIn is obviously a no-brainer, but Kane, the principles still apply in the sense of who is in your follower base. So speaking to your follower base or speaking to the audience you want. So when we do taste, you know, we said taste earlier. Yeah. Yeah. All of your examples and your framework of how you construct this. So if you use any analogies or anything like that, you should be using references that people get. I've got some clients and they use analogies that from the 80s and from the 70s and the 90s. And to a 20-something, their content looks out of date, but actually it's appealing to the audience that they're looking for. The advantage you've got as well on LinkedIn, Kane, is you can actually grow your audience with the right people. Using Sales Navigator, you can grow your audience with the right people who've been in their roles for, say, 10 years plus, which gives you an indication of where they are in their age range. And you can build your network with that so that naturally they're the people seeing your content. Obviously on Instagram, hashtags play a bigger part. So you can research the hashtags to find which ones are being used and engaged with by a particular audience too. Amy said, Amy, it's easier to leverage personal profiles than corporate ones because it's faceless. There's no, people like to engage with people. So I run my social media, and my social media outperforms the company's social media. That will always be the case, simply because I'm a person, whereas Maverick is a company. So I encourage all of our team to post. I encourage all of our team to put themselves out there, because them doing their thing, yes, it might get them some attention from other companies and they might get job offers and all that kind of stuff, but actually it helps me too. So it helps them in their career, but it helps me too. So I encourage our employees, where they want to build their personal brand. Why would we not? There's always a risk. There's always a risk with that, but that's what I would do. I've done this with one salesperson. One salesperson can be your content marketer. So Amy, if your marketing role, then you would lead the charge and maybe even get it to the salesperson, and the salesperson post it. We've got another question here. Quick way to gain followers. Oh, right. So, right. So on Instagram, we go through this in the course that we're running in April, but there's lots of quick ways to grow followers, but not very good ones. Yeah. So what will happen is you'll get the numbers, but it won't necessarily work very well. The easiest way to grow followers is to niche down on your hashtags, really narrow down on your hashtags and consistently nail particular hashtags. And what happens is you find you get more traction. A lot of people choose the wrong hashtags, and they choose too big hashtags, and so they can't cut through the noise. So Giordano, I think that's Italian, is it? Sorry if I've mispronounced your name there. The niching down on hashtags, narrowing down on the hashtags and smaller ones is more impactful. Chelsea, how often should you post content to keep it effective? Good question. So each platform's slightly different, but I would encourage you to be prolific. I've told people for years now to post at least once a day on LinkedIn, and it works. But actually what I've found recently is actually posting more on LinkedIn works too. So now I post 2 or 3 times per day, and I'm not seeing any negative impact from doing it. And I'm building a bigger audience faster. My following's growing faster. So that's the first thing. Giordano, I'd also say, if you're adding lots of value content, front end, tons of value, lots of actionable stuff. Actionable stuff gets followers. Actionable stuff gets connections. So more actionable, lead with actionable stuff. We love how-tos. We love them. Human beings seem to obsess about how-tos. So more how-tos will get you more attention and more followers. But obviously, over time, you'll want to balance that out, because you want to show people how you can help them and mix it up a bit more. Greg, yes, smaller hashtags, the smaller ones actually work better. Can one get in any kind of trouble if a small company with posts on personal and company accounts at the same time, same content? I wouldn't do it, Christos. I wouldn't do it at the same time. I would vary it. So maybe you do it on the personal page first, and then a day or so later, or 2 days later, you're kind of playing catch up. So one's 2 days ahead of the other. That would be perfectly fine. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I got it right. What call to actions keep your followers on your page, and how do you get them to visit another platform? So Tina, one of the things you can do, I haven't done this quite aggressively yet, because I've got a big following on LinkedIn, but on Instagram, it's not the same people. So what I'm doing is I'm putting content out on LinkedIn and giving links back to Instagram. But my primary goal with Instagram is to catch people I haven't got on LinkedIn. So I'm trying to get another audience. So on LinkedIn, I have very similar content, but I'm actually speaking to a slightly different audience. And then on Instagram, I'm speaking to a different audience again. So simple things. One of the things I do with our email lists, as people sign up for our lead magnets, if they don't convert immediately, we'll give them value through email. And every so often I'll say, hey, we've just done something on Instagram, or we've just done something on LinkedIn, and I'll share the link so they can come and see the content on LinkedIn. On this webinar, the first thing I said was, if you want to come find me on Instagram or LinkedIn, come find me. Yeah. I take time as well. It's quite difficult on LinkedIn, but on Instagram, everybody who messages me, I reply to every single person. Now that is a lot of work, but what I'm doing is I'm building people who appreciate me taking the time to respond to them. So I do that on Instagram. I literally reply to every single person. And I found actually replying with voice messages much more helpful there, because it means I can do it more quickly. Should we change niche if the content isn't working? It's not necessarily about the niche, it's about the need. So Meet has said there, should I change niche? It's not about the niche, it's about the need. Sometimes what we do is we speak to, if we think about our market, our target audience, at any given time, there will be a percentage of our target audience who are not in any need. There'll be a percentage of our target audience who are aware of the need, and there'll be a percentage of people who are hurting because they're in need. Our job is to speak to the whole audience, but actually convert the people in need. You can't sell something to somebody who doesn't have a need or doesn't realize a need. So part of our content is to open their eyes to the opportunities and needs they might have, the pain points they don't realize they've got. And the other part of our content is to speak to those people who feel the need and show them how we can fix it, how we can help them achieve it. Christos, a lot of people can schedule. Yeah, scheduling posts, I understand why people do it. I don't. So my main posts, I don't schedule, primarily because historically, I have seen a variance in the way a post performs by whether it's scheduled or not. Now, I can't say that's scientific proof, and I can't say that applies today, but I have seen it in the past. So I purposefully do it manually. So I'm posting on Instagram manually, I'm posting on LinkedIn manually, and I spend probably half my day, well, maybe a third of my day, working on these channels. Why? Because I'm building a pipeline. Yeah. So Dean is the marketer in chief and the salesperson in chief for Maverick. Why? Because I live and breathe these channels. I can't teach somebody how to do it if I don't do it myself. But to answer Christos's question, you can schedule, but if you're looking to use it as a place to get leads and sales, you want to have a person on it, because the speed of you responding to messages, the engagement and the conversations is critical to get that critical mass where you go, actually, I've got enough people here that also I have to convert these people, engage with them and convert them. If I've got 200 target audience and they're all following me, I've got a great opportunity there. If I had 200 followers and they're just the right people, it's worth a lot of money to me. If I have 10,000 and none of them are the right people, it's a waste of time. So for me, I will work and build that audience because I know that will feed my business. This is a very crude way of putting it, for a long time. So I invest a lot of time in it. But Christos, once it gets going, you might go, let's get it scheduled. Let's get a rhythm going. Let's get a routine. But actually, long term, we need somebody behind these, owning them. And that's what I've done. I live and own my LinkedIn and my Instagram. Now, my other channels, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, is a little bit more sporadic because I'm really focused on those two. And that's where I'm serving most of the content. So that's where I'm giving most of the value, build those up. And then once I've got them working, I might add another one and another one. Lucy, biggest tips on building the correct audience is you have to have a clear understanding of the value that you're going to deliver. So let's say, for an example, right? And I'll just give you an example quickly, right? So you'll see on screen the course we're running in April. So the value proposition for this is that if I'm going to share content, I'm going to be talking to an audience about how they've failed to get results from Instagram. They've built a following, but not getting any leads. They're sharing content, but getting nobody saying they help them. They've not made any sales from Instagram. So I will be producing content in April that will agitate the need for this course. In other words, if you want to get clients from Instagram, right now, my customers have to be dissatisfied with what's happening with Instagram, or they want to get somewhere quicker. So that's why I will reverse engineer from the benefits of coming on my course back to the needs. And I will talk about the needs or the pain points that people might be having because Instagram isn't working the way they want. Which software is best for hashtags? I'll tell you, Mr. Daniel, there is no software that's good enough for hashtags other than your own manual research. You can use somewhere that'll generate them, but you still need to dig into them to see who's sharing what on those posts. Mohammed's asked, I'm still not understanding how the algorithm works on LinkedIn. I use relating hashtags, share educating content besides soft selling, focusing local, but I just got average 1 to 2 likes and it's hard to get significant followers. Mohammed, that's a conversation that I can't go into. It's too in depth here, but I'd love to see what your hashtags are. Maybe drop me a message on LinkedIn. Tell me who your audience is and share some of your posts. So email me and send me one of your posts and tell me who your target audience is. And I'll go back and I'll come back to you with a voice message and give you some feedback. And Mr. Daniel, there's loads of hashtag services. I have one on my phone, but I still dig into them to find out who's posting in there, what's the right content, and I do the research manually. Meets just asked a good question. How do I understand the customer pain points? Think about it. It's dead simple, actually. Write down the benefits of your service. So imagine a customer has gone, there you go, there's your money. I want your service. I want your product. What's the benefits to their business? What's the real world impact in their business? Write them down. And then the pain points that you're serving, the pain points that you want to use in your content are actually the negative of your benefits. So if you help people get more clients and make more money from social media, right? The pain point is they're not getting any clients from social media and not making any money from social media. In fact, they might be ready to give up. Real simple how you can work them round. Amy, yes, they can. If you're the marketer, effectively, there's 2 elements. So you've got the social selling, and I kind of categorize that as you've got the content piece of social selling and you've got the outreach piece of social selling. And actually, using them together works really well. So you don't necessarily need to be a salesperson. So Amy, you could do this. You could implement this for your company as an individual. You just might not want to do the outreach piece. You might just want to do the inbound piece. So you might be focused on getting people to message in, and then you just hand the leads and get them to download stuff and somebody else follows up. So yes, Amy, you can do that. Yeah, so Amy, you can do that. As long as they don't have an issue with it, you do it. Absolutely do it. Any other questions before I wrap up? Obviously, I'd love you to come on our social selling course in April. We'll, if you want some details, again, email us. I think Terry's put a link in the chat there. So if you want some details to join it, it's actually 79 quid. So it's pretty cheap. and we'll walk you through everything that I've done to get my leads from Instagram, and my clients from Instagram, the whole process. So I'd love to see you on it. It's all live. It's like a group call, so we do it all together. But if you've got questions about today's session, come find me on Instagram, come find me on LinkedIn and say, hey, I'd love some advice. More than happy to help out. More than happy. Why am I more than happy? You're probably going to follow me. You're probably going to engage with my content if I help you. You're probably going to recommend me to other people. So I'm practicing what I'm preaching. So if you need help, drop me a line. If the Instagram course isn't for you, no big deal. But I'm still happy to help. Any other questions? Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? I feel like an auction here. Look, guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope I've given some value here. Please do the likes, the comments, the subscribes, the shares. If you're feeling really generous, write a post and tell people how wonderful this has been, hopefully. But I'll see you on the next session. We've got another session next week, same time, same place. Sign up there. And again, if you want that headline sheet with all the different headlines, drop us an email. So send us an email. Send an email to Maverick, hi@maverick.io, and we'll send that to you. And any details about the Instagram course, drop us a line too. All right. Thanks, everybody. And Amy, can you say that on LinkedIn for me? Say that on LinkedIn for me. I'd love you to say that on LinkedIn. Anyway, I got to run. Thanks for joining us. Sign up for our other events. Hopefully I'll see you next week for another